Exactly.
And then also I had some about mental health, which is it's really scary out there with what's going on in society. But
Hi, everybody. Alita Hernandez, Rebooted Mindset, once again on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 5:30. And we know we're always talking about health, right? Our health is the number one thing that we have. We only have one body, so we need to take care of this body that we have here to last us our lifetime. Today, I have Dr. Lewis, Dr. John Lewis, an expert here today on his company, Lewis Nutrition, and we're talking about brain health. So, brain health is everything. Your brain controls everything you do. And I learned that and experienced it firsthand when I had the stroke, actually 9 years ago this month. It was 9 years ago in January that I had a stroke, and it had affected me. I had lost 50% of my left side. My face was, kind of all sweat, all crooked. Sometimes I still have a little bit. I notice I do, um, I had to train myself to speak again. I couldn't speak correctly. I had to learn how to walk again, move my limbs, be able to move my arm. I had to do so much that it was just scary because you don't realize how important it is. And your brain does everything. Your brain is the one that moves your arms and helps you talk. It does everything. And when you have an imbalance in your body, like I did, I was so unhealthy. I was very, very unhealthy. And I really wasn't taking care of myself. I was eating everything. I was drinking too much alcohol. And I was diabetic at the time, and I didn't take care of myself. And because of the diabetes, the, insulin commotion that's going on in your body, right? My insulin was so high my sugars were so high in my body that with drinking alcohol, then your blood pressure went up. So I had my blood pressure went up. My sugar was at like 300 or something. And I went to sleep. Okay. Talk about, I say, God saved my life. So I was sleeping, and in my dream, I see a person, like I'm in the hospital, and the doctor comes in and says, Miss Hernandez, you just had a stroke. Just like that. That's exactly the message I got. And I open my eyes and I go, did I just have a stroke? Did I have a heart attack? Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was so disoriented, right? Because I had the stroke and I didn't know what was going on. So I'm lying in bed trying to move, and you're still not with it, right? So I don't know what's going on in my brain. So I'm trying to get out of bed. I'm like, why can't I move? I lift up my left arm and it drops to the ground. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I don't know how I did it, but I landed up scooching myself to the edge of the bed to get up, because you wake up, the first thing you want to do is go to the bathroom. So I'm thinking, I'll go to the bathroom, maybe I'll be better. Maybe I fell asleep in my arm or something, right? So I go to get up. I don't even know how I stood. I really don't know because of what was going on. But I landed up like getting myself up and just falling flat on the floor because I couldn't move. My left side was just dead. So my roommate at the time saw me and looked at me and said, we got to go to the emergency room right now. And I'm like, can I take a shower? I'm like, how grandma always tells you, grandma tells you never leave the house with dirty underwear, right? So I'm like, I don't know. That's me. We're always taught, like, if you're going to get sick, go take a shower, make sure you smell good, put some perfume on, then you go to the doctor. So he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, why? What's going on? Meanwhile, I don't know. My face is completely twisted. My whole left side of my face is like, dang, like this. I'm like all sagging, right? And the thing is, I had mirrors all over my house, and I never looked in the mirror, which was really weird. My whole room had mirrors on the walls, and I never saw myself. It's like I don't know why. So I landed up going to the hospital that right away. Over within, I don't know if it was a couple of hours. I really lost sense of the timing, and I got to the hospital, and everybody was like on me like crazy, machines, brain tests, all this stuff, and they couldn't believe that I was doing as well as I was. And I was very grateful. I'm thankful to God that I didn't have a bleeding stroke. Okay, it was just lack of oxygen to my brain, and so thank God I had no blood clot or anything like that. And all I remember was being in the emergency room going, I'm hungry. Any food? Anybody got any food? Like I was like all disoriented. I'm like, I'm hungry. Give me some food. He's like, no, you can't eat. You just had a stroke. I don't care. I'm hungry, you know? So I was like totally oblivious of really what the seriousness of what's happening. So after after that, the first thing that came when the shock hit me, like it finally hit me, I said, wow, I have to make a choice in my life now. And the choice was, do I live or do I die? And that's the bottom line. You have to make a choice. It's one or the other. Okay. Either you live, and how long would I have if I didn't change my life at that time? I don't think I would have had long, because my sugars were so high. My levels were, I was like at my A1C was like 13. Like it was insane. Okay. And let me tell you that your body heals, your body regenerates. And if people tell you, the other doctors won't tell you that, but your body heals. Okay. And I'll tell you right now that I went just the other day to one of these nutrition places, and they have like this machine that you hold on to, and it measures like your body fat, and it gives you like an age of your real age versus your internal age. Well, let me tell you that of everything I've done in the last 9 years, losing weight, I went lost like 100 pounds. I changed everything, the way I eat, the way I think, exercising, just living better. My real age, I'm 60. I'll be 61 now in February. And my internal age was 53. Okay. I was flabbergasted that he said that. 53? Are you kidding me? Like, did I reverse aging? I reversed aging, because they tell you when you're diabetic and you don't take care of yourself, they tell you you lose 5 to 10 years of your life. So for them to tell me that I'm physically internally younger, so guess what? I just reversed aging. I just got myself, I got 7 years. It's just amazing. So that's why I do this show. This is why I do this show. I like to show people you can lose the weight. Okay. I have a lot of I won't even talk about the drugs that are out there for losing weight, because those are the worst things you can do right now. Okay. You don't need that. I used to say that, oh, I can never lose weight. I'm so fat. I don't know what to do. You blame, I had kids, you have this belly fat. But you know what? Once you change your brain, your mindset, that you say, you know what? Is my life valuable? Is my life valuable? And if it is, do people depend on you? And you need to be alive. I have 2 boys. And that was the first thing when I had the struggle was, I need to see my sons now. Like I felt like I would never see my sons again. And it was the worst feeling in the world to think that you would never see the people you love. So I'm just giving back to you guys so you guys can learn of fixing yourself. We have a good friend. We're having a big party for him this Sunday. He had a stroke, he had heart attack, and he had quadruple bypass surgery. He's lucky to be here. Okay, he's a DJ. He's doing great. We're celebrating. We're doing a celebration of life for life. Okay, not like I tell people, why do we do celebration for life when people die? They're dead. Celebrate your life now. Celebrate the person while they're living, because one day you won't be able to talk to them anymore. So you need to celebrate now. That's not afterwards. When you're dead, you're dead. Your body goes, your energy, your spirit leaves you. Bye, honey. Mwah. My honey's going to rehearsal right now. He's playing salsa this Saturday. So if you're in Florida, you can come to Melbourne, Florida at Pineapples. JC will be performing with a full orchestra, and we're gonna have a great time that night. So that's how I'm living now. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying music, cruises, anything that's out there. So be careful, honey. All right. So yeah. So that's just a little story about me in case you haven't heard. If you're new to the channel, and this is my 114th episode. I have interviewed many, many people, and all on natural health, only holistic health. I talk to functional doctors. I talk to all different types of people that are trying to do this movement, right? This movement of natural plant-based health. I was talking earlier before when I was online on the other side on TikTok is watching us on the other side, and I was talking about when I went to the Chinese, I went to acupuncture. When I had the stroke, the doctors gave me like 5 pills or 6 pills. And here, take all this stuff. And I said, yeah, I threw them in the garbage. Didn't tell them. I just said, okay, yeah, I'll take them. Thank you. All right. Because if you tell them no, they're on you. So I took all the medicine. I threw it out. I went to my acupuncturist. We did acupuncture and I did natural herbs. Natural. And I did the powder, the natural. It's concentrated. Let me tell you, it's not for the weak heart. That stuff it's like taking a pill, crushing it, and eating it. Okay, it's the raw herb, right? But they only give you everything that comes out of the ground, so it's all plants, roots, and things like that they have studied that can heal your body. And a lot of times when you go to the doctor, they tell you, for example, I'll give you an example. I went to the doctor last year and they told me that I had hyperthyroidism. And I go, I've never had any problems with my thyroid. So I went to the Chinese doctor and she said, thyroid. She says, not your thyroid. It shows up as your thyroid. But what she told me was, we have to work on your kidney, your spleen, your liver. Like there's other parts of the body that, it's maybe the symptom is here in your thyroid, but it's coming from another part of your body. So you have to find the root cause. And our Western medicine doesn't do that. They just give you a pill, a little Band-Aid, and they send you home. Bye, go home. Here's a lollipop. See you later. And keep taking the medicine for the rest of your life. Well, no, I don't advocate for that. And most of the people that I bring on here are the same way, because there's no way I'm doing that. But without further ado, let's get Doctor in here because we got to talk about brain health. So I just gave you a little story about me. Let's get the doctor in here because this is going to be a good conversation. So let me get some, where's the, oh, here. There. Hello, Dr. Lewis. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
That was inspiring to hear your story.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I try to tell people because I think the best way to help other people is give them your own experiences with life and to realize how far you've come. And that is doable, because sometimes I look in the mirror and I go, wow, I really have gone through a lot, and physical challenges. And like right now I'm not diabetic anymore. I'm not on any medication whatsoever. Okay. And it's doable, but you have to work, right? You have to work at it.
Right.
But so doctor, so tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you start in this field that you are in nutrition? And
well, first of all, I'm right there with you in terms of you and the other guests you've had related to what you do to yourself and how you do things when you have a health challenge, and whether you just, go to the standard physician, which is, okay, if you're dealing with trauma, you need to be stabilized, like in your case with stroke. But when it comes to like actually caring for your health, I'm right there with you 100%. Who in the world wants to be on medication the rest of his or her life? So you and I are totally there. I've eaten a plant-based diet for the last 27 years. And my whole orientation toward life, to your point of our most important characteristic, is health. I could not agree with you more. The only other thing that comes close is the amount of time that we have in this life. We can't do anything about the passage of time, but we can do a heck of a lot about our health. And so every single day, the behaviors that we engage in, our mindset, our attitude toward whatever it is we're dealing with, is all of those things are such strong predictors of our health. So I've been at this for a long time, given my interest in a plant-based diet for the last, it's hard to believe, 27 going on 28 years.
That's a long time. Yeah.
It is. And I got into drug-free competitive bodybuilding in college. I played sports as a kid. And then when I got into college, I got really fascinated with weight training and bodybuilding, and I competed in it for a few years. I was never, though, willing to do drugs. I just looked at it like, I'm never going to make a living at this. And, it's just, there's only one Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I just couldn't see myself taking drugs for what I felt at that time, and still do in a way, is just a very narcissistic approach to life. It's just all about how big you are and and how muscular you are. I mean, I still train that way. That's
Right.
the way I exercise every day. But taking all those drugs, and even if you do, I mean, I give those guys credit, and ladies, you still have to work very hard. You can't just stick a needle in your butt and then expect to look good. You still have to work very hard. But that whole lifestyle wasn't for me. I did it for a few years, and then I realized I would never make a living at it. But what I always credit bodybuilding for is that it really created sort of a professional sense of how I looked at exercise and nutrition.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, prior to bodybuilding, I pretty much was like any other American you talk to. You eat for taste, not for health, right? Like you don't really, you get hungry, and then whatever you ate growing up, whatever your family's preferences were, most people adopt their parents or grandparents or whoever's preferences, and you live your life. You don't think about, well, wait a minute, what I'm putting in my mouth is actually the most important predictor of my health. And so bodybuilding at that moment wasn't a health outcome goal-oriented type thing. Certainly it was more of a performance goal-oriented proposition. But as I transitioned from no longer competing in bodybuilding, I was already of this mindset of, okay, this is how we use nutrition for performance. Now, how about applying it to health, which is much, much more important?
Mm.
And so since that time, it really took me down that path of, again, a very professional approach to my diet, to what I supplement with, to my exercise. But where I really took what I would, in my opinion, in my view of my own, just kind of looking back on my life's journey, where I really took another big leap was meeting a couple of people who introduced me to their stories using polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are complex sugars. And as you well know, we as Americans, for at least the last half century, have just been completely conditioned by this notion that all sugar is bad for us, right? Like there's no opportunity to say that, well, wait a minute, maybe it depends on context. Maybe it depends on nuance. Maybe it's not necessarily all sugar. And so I met this gentleman by the name of Dr. Reg McDaniel, a pathologist by training, who for the last 40 years has been practicing nutrition. And then I met this lady, Barbara Kimley, a former patient at the University of Miami Cancer Center when I was working full-time in research as a professor back in those days. And both of them were telling me about these polysaccharides, Dr. McDaniel from aloe vera and Barbara from rice bran. And I was thinking back as I met these two people that didn't know each other, Reg from the Dallas, Texas area, Barbara from the Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. But they came into my life around the same time, about 20 years ago. And it just completely turned me on my head about what I thought I knew about carbohydrate or saccharides or sugar.
Mm.
And usually when I mention aloe vera for the first time, if I'm having a lecture or conversation like this, of course, most of the time, most people will think, what? When you hear of aloe vera, you think what? Treatment for sunburn, right? Like something that
Well,
you take.
I have aloe vera plants myself, so I know they do a lot of other things.
Exactly. Well, we have here in Miami, we have aloe vera growing in our backyard, but
Right.
you probably never thought, well, what is it about that plant that actually helps my skin heal when I have a burn or a cut or a wound? I'm sure 99% of people just take it for granted that your grandmother or somebody along your life's journey said, well, hey, use aloe vera if you've got a sunburn. But you never thought, why? Why does that work? And fortunately, millennia ago, some human looked at an aloe vera plant and said, wow, that's a really weird looking plant. I wonder what it might do for me.
And
So-
they do drinks now. Like they have, I go to like, the ethnic supermarkets. So there's a
Mhm.
supermarket. I used to live in Boca Raton. So down
Okay.
there was a Brazilian supermarket. And they have a
Okay.
lot of aloe vera, in
Yes.
drink it. They have pieces of aloe vera in it and different flavors and things like that too. So I used to love drinking that stuff.
Sure. Well, and again, there's nothing wrong with, an aloe vera drink or taking the gel and applying it to your skin when you have that need. But it's a very limited application from what I learned from Dr. McDaniel. Up to that point, he and his colleagues had been working on different studies and different clinical applications using the polysaccharide in a powder from the gel. So the gel's 99% water. You would have to drink bucket loads of any kind of an aloe vera juice drink to really get the full benefit of the polysaccharides. But when you take all of that water out, when you dehydrate it and then concentrate it into a few hundred milligrams per dose or something, and then you actually eat it, you swallow it, that's where the rubber really hits the road, as they say.
Wow.
And so I met Dr. Reg, and he's telling me about all these incredible stories about aloe vera. It's blowing my mind, because the only thing I remembered in biochemistry class was saccharides are basically fuel for the cells that the mitochondria use to create ATP and that sort of thing. I had no idea about all of these other healing qualities. Again, even though I had, at that point, I definitely used aloe vera gel on my skin. I certainly was aware of it, but I didn't, I was barely scratching the surface
Right.
of my appreciation for this amazing plant that I now refer to as the plant of life, just because of what I'll share with you guys as we go forward in this conversation. And then with Barbara and her telling me about rice bran, I mean, again, I eat brown rice 3, 4, maybe even 7 days a week, depending on the week. I love brown rice, but I never considered the bran layer of brown rice and the incredible nutritional density that rice bran has. It just never even was something that I was aware of. But there are polysaccharides in that rice bran that, again, much like aloe vera, very, very much sort of sister molecules, if you will, although different, but just have incredible, incredible benefits for human health. And so after meeting Reg and Barbara, I started a journey that I'd never even had any idea that would occur. And it not only changed my career, it completely changed my life to running these clinical trials in different disease states and using these polysaccharides, and just, again, enjoying incredible results from these research studies. And so backing that up for a minute to say that, you hear so many so-called experts in health or nutrition running around the world saying all sugar is bad for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's an ignorant statement at best. At worst, you're intellectually dishonest, or you're not accepting of what the context is around that word. In my opinion, sugar is the most misused word in all of health and wellness, certainly in nutrition, maybe even in the entirety of health and wellness. So sugar really depends on, number one, its biochemical structure, what type of sugar it is, and number two, its source. So there are essentially 4 types of sugars.
Wow.
You have monosaccharides like high fructose corn syrup. That's 1 molecule of sugar. You have disaccharides like table sugar or sucrose. That's 2 molecules of sugar. You have oligosaccharides. Those are usually 8 to 10 molecules of sugar. The most common one, or the most beneficial one that people would recognize, would be in breast milk. And then you have polysaccharides, the most complex ones. These are literally hundreds to thousands of glucose sugar units attached together by these very sophisticated glycosidic bonds that are more dense than anything else we will put into our mouths, more dense than amino acids, fatty acids, certainly vitamins and minerals, anything else that we could consume. There's nothing more dense than these polysaccharides. And so, again, anytime somebody mentions the word sugar, they're probably referring to a sweetener like high fructose corn syrup or sucrose. And I agree with those people generally. If you're eating that stuff every day, that's probably not your best strategy for achieving health. But you cannot make the statement, all sugar is bad for you, because I've got a couple of decades now of research to prove that's incorrect. And it's not just what we showed at the University of Miami. This is from scientists and investigators around the world looking at these polysaccharides. So the 2 that we focused on, from aloe vera and rice bran, I would put up against anything else that Mother Nature provides for us for a healing effect or a healing benefit. I mean, maybe curcumin. You mentioned going to your acupuncturist and using TCM herbs. I mean, there are all kinds of plants that I'm sure most American has no idea about, that come from Asia or other parts of the world, that are these very exotic plants that have incredible benefits. And I don't profess to know about, there are too many, there's just too much information. I don't profess to be an expert in everything in nutrition. But again, the last 20 years, I've just seen such incredible work results related to these polysaccharides from aloe vera and rice bran, and that's why I'm such a big fan of them. And so that's why I'm here talking to you today. And given what you shared with me about your mom, I'm sure you're very excited to hear about our work in Alzheimer's and multiple sclerosis, because it's very directly applicable to what you were going through with your mom.
Yeah, that's I get a lot of emails, and I'm always filtering them to see what's really of interest. And I think brain health is so important. Somebody had asked me here, is brown sugar good for you?
Brown sugar, well, I mean, if you want to look at it from a glycemic index, it's about the same as sucrose. I mean, if it's organic, maybe you sweeten your tea or your coffee with it occasionally or something. I'm not that kind of a person. I don't sweeten foods myself.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
I had another person who had a product that I interviewed, and he talked about dextrose and glucose. So what's the difference with the sugar as dextrose, right? Like I bought a container of dextrose, right? And it sweetens. And what is the difference between that and like table sugar?
So correct. If any of our listeners, again, I'm not an expert on all these different sugars. Okay. I think dextrose typically comes from corn. I think it is manufactured from corn. And of course, sucrose comes from cane sugar typically. Okay. But again, that's a bit outside of my realm. But I would say, commonly both of those are used as sweeteners. So we're talking about polysaccharides that don't even really have, I mean, to me, if you taste the aloe polysaccharide or the rice bran polysaccharide, it doesn't have a sweet taste to it. It maybe has like a little bit of a citrusy taste to it, but it's not at all sweet. So they're totally different sugars. So, but I know that obviously sucrose is a significant sweetener, and I believe dextrose is another common additive in a lot of different foods that has, it's maybe not as sweet as sucrose, but it certainly has some sweetener type characteristics to it.
I guess I'm gonna have to do a research on these sugars because there's so many. And
exactly.
And when you go to the supermarket, like some people are asking me, like you go to the supermarket, you have the Splenda, the stevia, you have the monk fruit. I've tried the monk fruit because that comes from a plant, and it says it doesn't raise your glucose levels, like when you do monk fruit. I don't know, because it comes from a plant. So
have you heard about allulose?
No.
So that's another interesting one that also comes from corn. It's I don't know if it's probably a disaccharide. Somebody can correct me if they want to look it up.
We lost him for a second. He'll be back. Who knows what happened?
I don't know.
I know. It's the internet, people. They don't want us to talk about good stuff.
Oh, geez. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Just your camera went down for some reason. I don't know why.
What the heck?
Click on the bottom. Do you see anything?
Okay, I'm back.
There you go. Oh,
I don't know what happened. We just froze for a second.
Yeah. It's the internet.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Yeah, we'll keep talking until the camera comes back. I don't know. Sometimes it's the program. Sometimes the program just messes with you. Yep, there you are. You're back again.
I'm back. I have all of my other apps killed, so I hope there's no conflict running in the background or something.
Who knows? I always say, who knows if it's the app that we're using or if it's something else on the internet. Who knows? I upgraded my internet service to a faster service. So, but anyway, talking about that. So yeah, so there's tons of different sugars. I mean, I've been listening to some other people because we go to an extreme, like we trying to be healthy, right? So healthy, and they're like, oh no, I have a friend of mine that's completely organic, and she is I've never met anybody like her. She carries her food with her because she only eats organic. She doesn't eat refined sugar. She doesn't have, she's very particular what she puts in her body, and she looks amazing. She's amazing, and she's very healthy. And, some people, they're like, wow, she's so extreme. I said, everybody does what they want to do in the sense of their health. If she's comfortable that way and she feels great, then why, criticize her? We can learn a little bit about what she does. And it's the baby steps that we take. I tell people don't go like, oh God, now I have to like not eat sugar or not eat this or whatever. No, don't deprive yourself of food,
Right.
but watch what you eat and control the portions. And at midnight, don't be eating a steak, and go to sleep. Okay. you know, I mean,
Exactly.
common sense. So, oh, and I have to say to about sugar before you continue. So I went to the store and Domino sugar. Domino's been
Yes.
around for a long time. So I looked, and the other day they have the regular generic sugar in the white paper, right? And then
Yep.
they have Domino's, a new Domino's in yellow that says less processed. And I just laughed because it actually
Wow.
said less processed. I'm
Wow.
like, well, now the regular sugar is super processed because sugar is not white, first of all. They probably bleach
That's
it
right.
on top of it. They bleach flour.
Exactly.
So you wonder why it's white. It's not supposed to be white. I have cane sugar growing in my yard. So
Exactly.
that's the cane
Yeah, it's
stalk.
definitely not white. It's like a tan color.
Yeah. Yeah. And as kids, like my family lived in the country in Puerto Rico. So we had cane sugar all over the island. So we would just
Mhm.
cut it, we would chew it. We would just
Sure.
chewing on cane sugar. I don't know if that messed up my teeth or not, but I don't know. But it wasn't processed, it was natural. So at least it wasn't processed sugar I was chewing
That's
on.
right.
We were
That's
just chewing
right.
on the cane sugar. But let's get into this brain health. So oh, my TikTok threw me out. Look at that.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, what is it doing? Oh, it has to. Maybe it thinks because I'm not typing that it's not. Hold on. What is going on? Oh my gosh. Now it's trying to do a puzzle here. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's trying to tell me to move a little thing to a little puzzle. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm trying to learn. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what it's doing. I can't believe it. So anyway, TikTok went down. And
Oh
I had
no.
people on there, they were watching. Somebody was asking me questions because I had a person on TikTok that said that they have gut health, gut issues. And I was mentioning to them before we started that the gut health is another issue. People,
Huge.
it's a huge thing. It's like a second brain. When your stomach's
Right.
messed up, your head hurts, your intestines hurt, like you're all like, oh,
Right.
and people don't realize it. But with the brain health, I see my mother. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 7 years ago. Now, thank God that just now is that I noticed she's starting to get the short-term memories getting affected. Like she says,
Okay.
ask me, what time it is? Did I have lunch? I go, yeah, you're at lunch. She's, oh, okay. Or she'll go outside for a walk right down the street here, and then she'll come in and she'll go back out again. And I'm like, Mom, you just went out. Oh, well, I'm going to go out again. So her short term is starting to get affected. But my mother's a pianist and a composer. So she can play the piano for 2 hours and do Chopin, Tchaikovsky.
Wow.
Like she didn't forget none of that. All the old stuff, everything from the past, she remembers the stories, but it's the current. It's
Right.
like I tell people, Alzheimer's, you cannot make new memories.
Right.
You're stuck in that thing. You cannot make a new memory. So now everything is new. So for her, everything is like, oh, I've never ate that before. Oh, I've never seen that before. That's all she
Mhm.
says all the time. And I'm like, really, Mom? Let's go look it. Let's go check it out. So I've embraced it, because how
Right.
else am I going to do it? I can't. Oh, Mom, but you already did that. Why are you saying that? No, I just go, come on, let's go see it, And I take her dancing. She's still dancing. She's going to be 88 years old next
Mm.
month. And I mean, physically, she's amazing. She looks great. She dances salsa all night. I have to pull her off the dance floor. Oh yeah, my mother
Wow.
dances and enjoys her music, but I hate that she's, kind of stuck now,
Right.
And then my aunt, she fell and hit her head. So she
Mm.
hit her head and it caused and I'm upset with the doctors because it caused like an amnesia. So she doesn't
Mhm.
remember anything that happened to her. Nothing. She doesn't
Wow.
remember her husband who passed away. She doesn't remember. And she's just like a fraction of a person. She used to be a branch manager at a bank her whole life. So she was very detail oriented, math, very smart, and very strong willed. Well, she's still strong willed. Now she just fights with me. You know,
She's your mother's sister?
My mother's sister, yeah, and they both live with me. I take care of both of them because my aunt has no children and her husband passed, and then I'm the only child of my mother. So they both live with me.
Wow.
My aunt's 86, my mother will be 88, and I cook every day. I cook before the show here early, try to make sure they ate, and so it's a challenge. It's a challenge, because
It's a big
they're like
load for you.
it's a lot. My husband helps me so much because I couldn't put him anywhere. We were raised that way.
Right.
We're Latin. We take care of our family. We took care of my grandmother. She passed at home at 90 years old. My uncle died home with cancer. We took care of him too. So I've been taking care of people for a long time, like most of my life, because the family's so big. So,
That's
but
another thing you and I share in common. Then I've been doing the same.
yeah. So I want to tell you, my aunt, interesting enough, doesn't work. She was taking a medication that they gave her. I don't remember the name of it, but she was taking this medication for a while now. And I started reading the medication and the side effects and everything. I said, this is not doing nothing. It's not going to help her in the brain. So you know what? I cut it.
I don't blame you.
So what I discovered, the pill was causing her to have no appetite. So she's skinny because she wasn't hungry. And she was getting dizzy. And she would say, she would get dizzy or something like that. And, now I took the medicine off. And now, guess what? Now she's eating to the point that she doesn't remember she eats. So I had to lock the pantry now because she's going, like, in the morning, she'll go 4 times to eat breakfast. I'm like, Aunt, you already ate. I did, so I can see the changes, like the brain is changing. Something's going on up there now because I see her a little different, but the appetite is back and she's not dizzy anymore. And she seems to be more awake.
That's good.
So that's a good thing. But now I still have to deal with what else is going on in there because she fell. So it's a different type of thing, but I don't know, I don't understand what's going on in the brain. It's just really hard.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, I'll dive right into our research because, again,
definitely.
For what you and your mother and your rest of your husband and your aunt are going through, I think this will be motivational and inspirational for you. So shortly after I met Dr. McDaniel, he was giving a lecture to a group that had an interest in nutrition, of course, and he was talking about some of his work with people with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And there happened to be a lady in the audience who she and her husband had lost 4 family members to Alzheimer's disease. And she came up to him after the lecture and said, wow, your work is really inspiring with these polysaccharides. I'd love to help you extend the research. And he was not affiliated with any university or research organization at that time. And so I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And he called me up and he said, John, we've got an opportunity to do a study with the polysaccharides, but it has, the only condition the donors are making is that it has to be an Alzheimer's disease. And so, here in Miami, of course, we have a lot of elderly people, a lot of people with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. So certainly it wasn't difficult to run the study here, but we chose to look at the people in the study who were moderate to severe severity. I don't know if your mother has been evaluated to that level yet, but these are the folks.
Yeah, no, because I stopped going to the neurologist. I got upset with the neurologist. I was totally upset because I said to them, when my aunt fell, for example, I said to him, have you done any more brain scans? Can we get something? No, she has to take this. She was taking memantine. That was a medicine that was before. And I stopped that one too, because it said it only gives you 6 months of extended. I'm like, no, why are you poisoning my aunt with medicines? That's not doing anything. It's just not doing anything.
Oh, I hear you. I totally hear you.
And it's really sad because my friend, her mother just passed away because she had Alzheimer's, and they took her to the memory facility. And I'm sorry to say this, but they landed up like killing her with all the medications. She
course.
went in and she was having cognitive issues, but she was still functioning, she would dance. I saw her last year. And from a year, she declined so much that they kept her medicated and sedated and all this stuff because they don't want to deal with it, right? So she landed up, she was screaming. My girlfriend told me she was screaming. It was because she was in pain and they thought she's just being crazy. Well, they landed up not taking care of her. She landed up getting septic. She got septic because she had an intestinal infection and she died. That is horrendous.
Yes.
Horrendous. So
my dad was butchered.
Yeah. Oh.
My dad was butchered by the medical system. It is horrific, and it's sad when people give their power away and they just turn it over to this machine that I mean, I don't think necessarily the typical physician or nurse is in the wrong place in terms of why they chose their profession and their desire to help people, but they're just using the wrong modality. I mean, again, if you have a stroke or you have an auto accident or you have some other trauma where you need to be stabilized, I think the United States is a great place to be. We can definitely stabilize people in an acute setting, but beyond that, forget it. We're a joke. I mean, it's just pathetic. What we call healthcare in this country.
Yeah, because it's not healthcare.
It's not. It's disease management.
Exactly. They give you the Band-Aid. You come in. That's why sometimes, like, if I don't feel good or something, and then my husband's like, "Oh, let's go. You want to go to the hospital?" I go, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I'm like the other day, I had my knee was swollen and I was in a lot of pain, so I went to the emergency room because I didn't know what to do. I was in severe pain, and listen to this: that over here in Orlando Health, I didn't even go into the emergency. Like, they triaged me in the front. You know how when the nurse sees you, and then I had to sit in the lobby. Like, then I never went back anywhere. I stayed there. They took me an X-ray. I came back, and then he comes over with pills, and he's opening up the pills. It goes, "Here." I go, "Hold on. What are you giving me?" He said, "Oh, this is pain medicine." I go, "What are you giving me?" He goes, "Oxy." I go, "How dare you give me an Oxy?" Wow. Did you ask me if I had issues with drugs? Did you ask me if I can take an Oxy? How dare you? He looked at me. I said, "I cannot take Oxys, first of all. Okay, I don't like the side effect. I don't like the medication. And that you shouldn't even be giving it. Yeah, I'm in severe pain, but I don't need that." And I think that's wrong right there because they're so conditioned. Absolutely. Our system is conditioning. The doctor, everybody's learned in the same book, right? They study the same book. And I did some research, and you probably know about this too, that many, many years ago, before our system was really established, what did we use? Natural medicine.
That's
we use natural medicine. If you look at the old country movies, the Western movies, they were there brewing stuff up, in little mortars, and they were crushing it and doing stuff like that, or taking plants. And that's what you had until they realized that, we can make money on this. So let's start making medicine and selling it to people. And for example, like diabetes medicine is insane. Insulin, like $1,000 for a vial of insulin. What are you talking about? It costs you 5 cents to make it, probably.
I know, it's tragic. And if you don't take care of yourself, then you're just giving yourself away basically to a system that has no compassion for you at the end of the day, because it's all about making money.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But anyway, the people with moderate to severe severity of Alzheimer's are the people that Big Pharma doesn't even have an interest in studying. I mean, they focus pretty much on either mild cognitive impairment, which is not necessarily a death sentence for dementia. In other words, about 50% of people with MCI will progress to dementia, so not everybody does. Or maybe if you have mildly diagnosed dementia. But the folks at the moderate to severe level, Big Pharma has no interest in studying them. And quite frankly, a drug's not going to do anything for them anyway. So we wanted to study that subgroup of people with Alzheimer's. And we wanted to put them on the formula for a year. And so we evaluated their cognitive function at baseline, 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. And then we drew their blood at baseline in 12 months to see, we wanted to compare what was happening within the immune system, look at some inflammatory markers, try to get some sort of an idea of the links between immune function and brain health and inflammation. That was really the purpose for drawing the blood. So, Alita, what ended up happening was beyond, based on what Reg had done to that point, we were at least optimistic, but we had no idea really what, you run a study, you make a design that you think can be a good one that is ethical and all these different considerations that we have as scientists. But at the end of the day, till you collect your data and you run it, you analyze it statistically, you really have no idea until that actually happens. But I was getting phone calls as we started running the study. I was getting phone calls of caregivers calling me up and saying, "Hey, Dr. Lewis, I cannot believe what my loved one, whether it was a spouse, a parent, a grandparent, whatever the relationship was." And these people were calling me in tears of joy because they could not believe what was happening. So I felt very confident that at the end of the day, when we finished running the study, that we would have something, but it even was beyond my level of expectation. So there's an assessment called the ADAS-Cog, and that is considered to be the gold standard for assessing cognitive function. Now, just so that your listeners are clear, when I'm talking about cognitive function, that's more than your short-term and your long-term memory. That it is all encompassing. So I'm referring to your executive functioning, your ability to balance your checkbook, to make a grocery list, to do things around your house, to make sure that your house is functioning properly. That's your processing speed. That's how quickly you can look at something or a situation and then understand it. It's your recall ability. Do you remember where you put your keys when you came in the house that, last night? It's your spatial orientation. Do you know what day and time and season it is? So there are lots of things that go into cognitive function besides just your short-term and long-term memory.
Yeah.
So the ADAS-Cog has been published in thousands of articles over the last several decades, and that's not my opinion. It truly is the gold standard for assessing cognitive function. And like I said, we did that 5 times. At the 9th follow-up, at the 9-month follow-up, and at the 12-month follow-up, we showed clinically and statistically significant improvements in cognitive functioning.
Wow.
That's unheard of.
No, you don't hear that at all.
That is unheard of. You can compare that. You can compare our findings to the 5 FDA-approved drugs for dementia, to any kind of diet, to any other dietary supplement, hyperbaric oxygen, exercise, acupuncture, herbal medicine, homeopathy, red light therapy, music therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. There is literally no intervention in the scientific literature. And I would encourage any listener to, fact check me, as people like to say today. Yeah. Go to PubMed and do your own homework. You will not find any other intervention that shows that kind of an effect. And that's why, I'm talking to you here today, because that one finding ended up basically taking my life in an entirely different direction. But how do you explain that clinical, practical finding? So what happened in the blood? So first of all, we showed an improvement in overall immune system functioning according to the CD4 to CD8 ratio. Your CD4 cells are your helper cells. Your CD8 cells are your cytotoxic cells. That's a very important ratio for all of us, not just for people with Alzheimer's disease. So that improved over the 12-month period. We showed reductions in 2 proteins, TNF-alpha and VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor. These are proteins that are commonly looked at in cancer and heart disease. Our paper was probably the first paper in Alzheimer's disease showing a lowering of those 2 proteins. So we lowered inflammation. And then finally, in this first paper, we showed an increase of adult stem cells. We showed a 286% increase in CD14 cells, which are a marker of adult stem cells. Again, that's unheard of. There's nothing else in the scientific literature that shows that. And that was all in response to this polysaccharide formula that we now call Daily Brain Care. So that was the first of 4 papers that we've published from that study. Even though I'm not in academics, full time anymore. As you mentioned, I'm the founder and director of Dr. Lewis Nutrition. But we have, again, there's nothing else on the market like daily brain care in terms of the scientific support for showing that type of an effect with cognitive function, brain health, essentially, and then all these other links with the immune system, which when you mention the immune system, most people think of that as your first line of defense against infection, and it certainly is, but it's much, much more than that. Your immune system, I like to use the analogy of an orchestra, and you have the conductor of the symphony, and the conductor is up there, doing this.
Right.
And keeping the pieces of the orchestra in harmony and in balance and playing the music correctly. That's exactly what our immune system does. Our immune system talks to our other major organ systems, and it keeps everything in balance and in harmony. So if our immune system is not functioning properly and keeping everything else regulated, you cannot possibly expect the central nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system, the GI system, all these other major organ systems working properly without your immune system working properly. So that's why we like to refer to these polysaccharides essentially as like signaling mechanisms for our immune system. So I mentioned some of those different components of the immune system that we published in that first paper. So when we consume these polysaccharides that you don't get from the diet, again, these come from aloe vera and rice bran. When you consume them, it's like giving your car rocket fuel. It's like, boom. It's like, wow, now this is how I'm supposed to function, because it's so much, going back to what I said earlier in our conversation, there is so much coded information in these polysaccharides. They're like 5D structures. You cannot draw them on a piece of paper. That's how sophisticated they are. And when our genes interpret that information, they guide our cells in how to function properly. And that's the nutritional model. That's not the pharmacological model. So please, no one leave this conversation and say, well, Lewis said you use nutrition to treat disease. I never say that. What I say is that we provide with the raw materials from nutrition as guided by the genes to allow the cells to function properly. And if you have an existing health challenge, to hopefully, through the body's inherent intelligence, allow you to return to homeostasis and heal itself, just like you did from your stroke and your diabetes. So when you provide the raw materials to all the cells, that's where the magic happens. That's where this internal intelligence that we have from head to toe kicks into gear and everything falls into place properly. So again, this is not using nutrition to treat disease. This is using nutrition to allow the body to heal itself. The most powerful anecdote I can tell you from the study was a lady who was 93 years of age. She had been diagnosed, I believe, I'd have to double check. It was either 11 or 12 years with Alzheimer's. Totally, I mean, the lady was literally like a piece of furniture. She sat in a wheelchair all day and did not speak. So Dr. Reg and I said, let's definitely enroll this lady in the study, because poor thing, there's no other hope for her. We enrolled her in the study. The caregiver was, of course, thrilled that she had an opportunity to do something. Before the 3-month assessment, one day she came walking into the center and she called one of the clinical coordinators by his first name.
Oh my goodness.
That guy started crying like a baby. It was so emotionally overwhelming for him. Number one, he could not believe she was walking. And number two, he could not believe for the first time she actually said his name. I'm getting chill bumps. Every time I tell the story, I get chill bumps.
I do too. That's amazing, because I see, unless you go through it, you just don't realize how debilitating it is. The brain function. When it starts slowing down, my aunt, she's 86, and she was fine. Like, she was fine. You know what I mean? Like, if she didn't have that fall, she would be still driving probably, But now she doesn't. I have to give her to take a bath. She doesn't remember how to take a bath or shower anymore. She doesn't realize that she can't, like, she wears the same clothes. So I have to trick her. Like, I have to get her in the shower. It takes me like an hour to get her to take a shower. I have to be, and then I have to mentally be available. Like, I have to mentally, emotionally, everything. I have to give everything now I have to give her a shower. How am I going to get her in the shower? Like, I have to figure this out because she doesn't understand what's happening. And then the other day, while she was in the shower, I told my mother to watch her. I took all her clothes that she was wearing. I washed everything, right? So I gave her new clothes. But now she's like, but that's not mine. Like she wears the same thing every day. She says, "This is my clothes. I'm not going anywhere." Like she doesn't understand.
Right.
And so it's really hard. It's very difficult because you don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to do. There's so much I can do. I just make sure that they're safe, that they eat, that they have a roof over their head, and a warm bed to
Right.
sleep in, and I just make sure that they're fine. And that's all I can do. But that's why when I ran into your information, I'm like, oh, I gotta talk to him because we gotta see if we can help mom and my aunt,
That's
because
right.
my mother is more, but I don't know, will it help? Would it help my aunt also, even though she has a different type of brain issue? Or
Listen, this product is for everybody. I've been taking this formula for over a decade. I've had my mother on it for over 13 years.
oh
When
wow.
my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, that was 6-7 years ago. She started taking it. We have a 14-month-old son now as well. So both of them started taking it when they were 6 months of age. These polysaccharides, again, as I mentioned earlier, there's nothing else that Mother Nature provides for us that I'm aware of other than maybe curcumin. I'm a big fan of curcumin as well. But this isn't about just the brain. This isn't about just getting sick and then trying to do something. This is about prevention. These polysaccharides are used by every cell, every 30 plus trillion cells in our body to help us stay healthy and be optimally healthy, hopefully. So yes, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. I even have people that are on a feeding tube taking this product. Even if you cannot open your mouth and swallow, they're taking it through a feeding tube. These were two people that also had stroke, unfortunately. So my goal is to touch it in my business, which maybe a few people are listening wondering, well, why isn't this guy still in academics doing the research? I went from being on cloud 9 thinking, oh my goodness, I've made, a significant discovery here to help people, to actually 4 years later leaving academics, because after we published that first paper in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, I tried 2 times with NIH and two times with Alzheimer's Association to get more money to extend our research, and I got that much in return.
Wow.
So the pinnacle of my research career was ultimately the thing that drove me out of academics, because I couldn't get any more money to continue doing that research.
Of course
because
not.
they're not interested in nutrition. They want to do research on drugs. They don't care about nutrition.
Yep. And you were healing people, and people are getting healed and getting better too. So they're like, no,
right.
red flag, it's working.
Exactly. So anyway, that's why I left academics almost 9 years ago, and I've been in the dietary supplement world. But my mission in my company is to touch at least 1 million lives, because again, I don't believe there's anything else more powerful than we can all take to help us stay healthy. And again, if you have some existing health challenge, to be able to hopefully help your body support itself and recover from it. So yes, I don't look at anybody and say, oh no, that person can't be helped. The only person that might fall in that category is if you have some extremely rare allergy or sensitivity to one of the ingredients in the product. But otherwise, everybody, in my view of the world, should be taking this product as one of the most significant tools in your toolbox.
So the product itself, like you said, it's not just your brain. It helps your cells in your body. So
every cell in the body.
Everything. So that would be good, especially for people with autoimmune issues.
Absolutely.
That's such a big thing now. People say, oh, I have this autoimmune thing. And there's other diseases that are coming up. My cousin just passed away a few months ago. He had myasthenia gravis. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Not sure how the heck, but I have my inclinations on why, because he was a severe diabetic. And he loved sugar. I mean, he loved sweets. So he was constantly eating chocolate and chocolate covered cherries, and she has a lot of different things. And he was on a lot of insulin medicine. And he thought that if I just keep shooting myself, I can just keep eating. No, you can't.
Wow.
So unfortunately, his whole body, the myasthenia gravis basically makes you paralyzed completely.
Right.
He couldn't hold his head up. He was in a wheelchair, and he was a very intelligent man. He was a teacher for most of his life, and
What a shame.
yeah, it's a shame. But you know what's
Food
sad?
addiction.
Huh? Food
Food
addiction.
addiction.
Yeah, food addiction. So many people have food addictions.
They
So
do.
many people. That's why I always say on my show, it's never too late to reboot your mindset, right? It's never too late to
That's right.
change how you think. You have to be able to, even if it's baby steps, right? You have to be able to change one little thing a day.
That's
Don't
right.
make it drastic. If you have, 5 bowls of cereal a day, go ahead, cut it down to one. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
just start little by little. At least if you try, you will be able to, get to the next step. And I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, to have a stroke. I know people have died because they had a stroke or they had a heart attack. I've seen them. And we've gone through the last 6 years with the COVID and all the people that we've lost over the years, because their immune was so bad. Oh, yep. See, we're talking about good stuff, and
Something.
then it drops you off. But I can still hear you. You'll be back.
Man,
It's
that's weird.
Yeah, it's the internet. Who knows? You know how they listen to us all the time.
True.
So I,
Exactly.
I think sometimes they do it on purpose. Oh, they're talking about good stuff. Let's cut them out.
Right. Exactly.
So I just keep going. But yeah, that's why I try to tell people, it's a complex, and then we have to get out of this programming of the industry, the medical industry. Everybody go, oh, I'm going to the doctor, I'm taking these pills. I have another family member that must take like 25 different pills. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, the doctor, you're taking one pill to counteract the other pill, to counteract the
right.
other pill. And then you got another problem because all those 4 pills don't go together.
That's right. All the polypharmacy effects are completely unknown. There's no research to know what all these different drugs are doing to people when they get taken all at the same time. There's no idea. There's no idea. It's terrible.
There isn't. So I'm really, I'm happy that you kind of stumbled onto something. You started doing all this research and creating this product because you came up with something that nobody knows about and that we need. I mean, there's a lot of been research now on stem cell and different things. I think now there's some peptides. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's been coming
Right.
up, and in other countries, like if you go down to Colombia or South America, right, you can go and get stem cell, treatment down there. I
Right.
mean,
Yep.
because they make it readily available and affordable, not like here that you can't even,
Correct.
and that's the other issue too, that we go through this disparity of the poor don't get the quality of health. They don't get the quality of health, and then they can't afford the products that are good for them. So that becomes another issue. And it's like, I don't know. I just see a pattern that we're going through a really bad pattern in our health in America, from our children who are now, we're like 1 in 3 have autism or something ridiculous,
It's unreal.
which I don't understand that either. Before it was 1 and say 1,000 or more when we were kids.
Exactly.
Now, when I was a child, right? So I remember you would see one child that had Down syndrome, or like it was a rarity. It was a rarity, right? And
That's
now
right.
I would say out of 20 of my friends, at least 10 of them have some child that has autism, or grandchild or child. I'm like, what is going on? So you have to be grateful and thankful that your child is good.
That's
But
right.
you started your children on the product as well. So that's something to.
Absolutely. My children are very healthy. They eat a plant-based diet as well, and never given them any injections of any kind. They're healthy as horses.
Do you believe that the plant-based diet is just much better for us than eating animals?
I do, totally. 100%. The research backs it up. My own life, my own anecdotal evidence, I'm as healthy as a horse too. In fact, I'm about the healthiest person I know. So
Oh, well, they say gorillas don't eat meat, so look at
that's
that.
right.
And
Exactly.
elephants.
Exactly. All the strongest animals are herbivores. They're
Yeah,
not
they are.
carnivores.
They are. They are. Yeah. It's another thing in society of how to get rid of meat, like not to eat any meat. I did that for the first about a year and a half when after the stroke. I became completely vegan and detoxed my body. So I did
Nice.
juicing. I bought a big juicer, put my carrots and my beets and my ginger, and I just every day was doing juicing to detox the body, and I didn't eat any meat. And at the time, my husband's like, we're Puerto Rican, so we grew up on pork, and all this stuff, right? So he's like, I told him, I'm sorry, I'm sick. No meat. He's like, okay. So I didn't make meat for about a year and a half, and he was like, I need a pork chop. I can't take it anymore. So I had to start cooking for him because he's like, no, I need something else. I don't need because after a while they get rebellious. Like, I don't want to eat more salad and grains and beans. And I'm like, why? It's good. No, it's your taste buds, right? You're looking for
Right.
different flavors
Exactly.
and stuff like that. So I laugh when people say that they get what is it now they do like plant-based like Impossible Burger, plant-based
All
meat
right. Yes.
supposedly, right? So it tastes like beef, and I go, hold on. If you're a vegan, you don't like beef.
Yeah,
So why are
exactly.
you making a plant-based thing taste like something like meat? We don't want
Right.
it. We don't want it.
That's right. I think it's good for the person that's like trying to transition
Mhm.
as like a way of, still hanging on to something, but that, can help them convert to a different way of eating. I would assume, maybe that's a bad assumption, but
You know what it is? Like you said, it's habit, it's family traditions.
exactly.
What I've done is I mean, yes, I do eat meat, but I don't eat beef. I stopped eating beef 9 years ago, and I try to limit my meat intake, right? But sometimes I don't want to eat it, like it's just not.
Right.
But I've learned to do a lot of things with beans. Beans are the best thing. And being Puerto
No
Rican, we eat
doubt.
beans all the time. So I make grains, like I'll replace the white rice with quinoa, or I'll replace it
Mhm.
with some millet and some what's the other one? Sorghum. And there's all these different
Mhm.
grains that you can eat, which is hard to find too. Try to go to the supermarket to buy sorghum. Forget it. Or
Sure.
millet. You have to
Millet.
order it
Yeah,
online. Millet's really good. Yeah.
absolutely.
So, yeah. So you're saying how long you said like 3 months that people started seeing like a difference once they started taking your product? About,
So that's a good question. People, I've lumped people anecdotally in three categories. About 20% of people will notice an effect literally within a couple of days, maybe a week. About 60% of people will notice something in 30, maybe 45 days.
Hmm,
And then the other 20%, they may need a couple of months or longer, but everybody's different. And of course,
right.
we all have unique profiles and unique characteristics. So it usually requires a little bit of time, trial and error. But I tell everybody, if you haven't noticed anything within, say, 60 days, then you're probably on too low of a dose.
Hmm.
So it just usually requires a bit of trial and error. But in the Alzheimer's and the multiple sclerosis studies, we put people on 4 doses a day, 4 scoops of the powder per day.
And you can just put it in water or food or what have
Water,
you.
juice, smoothie. You can mix it in
Oh, okay.
anything.
Oh, okay.
It's also in capsules as well if people don't like the
Okay.
taste or the texture of powders.
Okay. Yeah, because I have to be innovative. My mother's really good. So if I give her, I can do a protein shake, with fruit and stuff like that. And I can put it in there, she'll drink it. My aunt on the other way,
Never taste it.
yeah, and my aunt, I don't know how I'm gonna do that because she's like, I probably have to do the pill because she's not one to try protein. She's like, what is that? She won't eat. She's very, 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 very picky. And now
Mm,
she's even more picky.
wow.
Yeah. So, but this is important for everybody out there who's listening, and whoever sees the replay of this episode, that we have to, we have to do something to improve our health and always look for alternatives, to see what can benefit us, because you can, like I said again, you can't just give your life, right, or your health to another person. Like when you go to the doctor, it's like you're giving that person authority to work
That's
on your
right.
health. So no, it's your body and you have to take care of it. If I really believe if I didn't do what I did 9 years ago, I wouldn't be here.
I agree with you.
I wouldn't be here. I mean, I had my gut I was so heavy, my gut. I looked like I was 10 months pregnant. Okay.
Wow.
And one day I was outside and somebody said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "I'm not pregnant." And that's the worst. Never tell a woman. If you see a fat person, please
Right.
don't. If you're not sure, don't tell a woman, "Oh, what do
Yeah,
you do?"
exactly.
It's the worst thing to do. Okay, because I felt so bad. I'm like, wow, am I that heavy? Because I think a lot of times you look in the mirror and you convince yourself, I'm fine. Like you see yourself differently. You know how they say people who have like anorexia, they see themselves fat, but they're
Right.
skinny. I think we do. I think we do the same thing when we're fat. I think and unhealthy. We just convince ourselves, no, we're fine. I'm fine. I just get a bigger
Right.
shirt. I'm okay. I'll just cover it up. Right? You just get a bigger shirt. You cover it up,
Right.
cover up the gut, and you're good. No, no,
No.
and your body gives you all these signals. Like I had gallbladder removal. Okay, all these different things, and then people like, oh, you don't need it. Yes, you do. You need your gallbladder. There's
Absolutely.
a reason. So when you get your gallbladder removed, you can't eat certain foods because now you can't process the fat. So
That's
you can't
right.
eat fried foods. You can't, and you're not supposed to be eating that anyway. But still, now you're trying to readjust, and you don't know how to readjust because now you're forced to do it.
That's right.
So,
Well,
so I'm
bless you for going through all these trials and tribulations, but you look
I don't
very radiant now, and I'm glad you're doing well.
not bad for 61, right?
Right. Exactly.
So, and my husband too is the same age. We're both born the same year, and he's pretty good. He's pretty healthy, except he has some back issues. So that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, this product sounds really great to have it, like you said, for children. If you have little kids, you can just put it in their milk or whatever they're drinking, and they won't even know. You said it's tasteless, and anything that we can help.
Absolutely. Well, it's not totally tasteless. It does have like a bit of a citrus. I call it citrusy graham cracker, but it just mixes very well with just about anything, especially a smoothie or yogurt or applesauce or oatmeal, cereal, mashed potatoes. You can pretty much put it in anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. So once I cook, like I could do mashed potatoes or sweet potato and just put it in there, mix it up, and give it to her.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good to know. And so anyway, I know your website is Doctor. I'm going to put it up here, Dr. Lewis Nutrition. Let me see if I can share that on the screen so people can see it on your website. There's some good stuff on there, and let's see if I can share that right now. Share screen, and here we go. There we go. So there's your website right there,
Yes.
and then you got your shop here, and then you can go to. So which one? Oh, I see. You have Daily Brain capsules and Daily Brain powder.
Yes.
And then this is the D3 and K2. That's just a supplement, right, for vitamins?
Yeah, we have the three other products: curcumin, D3K2, and EGCG. Those are all enhanced with our liposomal technology to improve their absorption, which they typically, if you don't have any kind of liposome formulation with these types of nutrients, they typically are not absorbed very well. So we have a special technology that we use to enhance those. We didn't use those in the clinical trials, but the daily brain care is what we studied in the Alzheimer's and MS studies.
Okay, perfect. So you can go straight to the website and order the product. There's the daily brain care, and they're relatively reasonable. Medications cost a lot of money, but you know what? I always say, how do they always say that I just lost the thought. You get what you pay for, right? So
That's right. Exactly.
and also, well, more so that the medications, like regular medications out there, are so expensive, right? They are just ridiculous pricing. I was at the pharmacy the other day, just passing by the pharmacy at CVS or wherever I was, and a person, older gentleman, was there, and he's like, the lady's like, "Oh, the total is $1,400."
Wow.
I went, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, wait, I didn't put the discount in." Then she put the discount and it went, I don't know what she did, but it went down to like $100. But still,
Wow.
like, what are you getting? And then everybody's on the same thing. Um,
Wow.
the getting rid of your cholesterol, which I know we need cholesterol in our bodies.
Right.
Okay, so they're trying to suck the cholesterol out of your body with the stupid statins, whatever they give you, those
I know it.
pills that they give you. Then they give you the blood pressure medicine. Another thing that they
I
put
know it.
everybody on the same medicines. Because I'm hearing them. Oh yeah, you have the Metropolo and the whatever it is. Like, I know the names because that's what they give my mother and my aunt. And what I do is my aunt was taking like 10 pills a day. She's down to a vitamin D3 or something. That's it. I took everything away from
Good.
her because they were giving her blood pressure medicine, and then her blood pressure was going down too much because now she's lost weight, so she don't need that. The cholesterol, took it off. The robustatin, whatever they call it, garbage. They send it, I just throw it out. I don't give it to them. You know. So yeah, I look forward to this and really watching them. I would love to try it with my mom and my aunt to see if there's some kind of improvement. I mean, they're still physically, they're really good. They're strong. You know, my aunt's pretty strong. My mother walks like 10 times a day outside because she's bored. So she goes outside. She walks down the street here, talks to the neighbors, comes back. She walks every day. 8:30 in the morning, she's out. Doesn't matter if it's cold or hot. She goes out for a walk.
Great.
You know.
Well, if you want to contact me offline, we can discuss more about that. If you want to send Jeff a message.
Yeah, definitely. I will. I'll email you and let you know that I'm interested in that. And I appreciate you. We've been on here, great conversation for over an hour now. And
Thank you so much for having me.
oh, it was a pleasure to have you here. And I know it's going to be very, very beneficial to so many people out there. So we just got to get the word out. And I'm working on a new magazine right now. I have an entertainment magazine, but I also am working on the new Rebooted magazine, which is all on health. So I've decided to do a fully natural wellness and health magazine because, to separate the entertainment from that, because I think it's very needed, and it's all going to be about all these natural things that we can, share out with people. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'm trying to work that for
Please.
February. It's supposed to be coming out.
Wonderful. Well, I'm happy to come back on your podcast anytime, or if you would like for me to contribute to your magazine, I'd be happy to do that as well. So I'm
okay. Perfect. Yeah, I will definitely email you with all the information, and then we'll go from there. But again, thank you so much for being here. It was great to have all this discussion and learn so much. And hopefully people out there learn. I know people, when you get the terminology, they're like, "What is that?" What people get confused. But we try to make it simple, right? Trying to
That's right.
for people to understand. So I always tell people, you have questions, send me a message. I can get you can look up Dr. Lewis. You can go to his website. You can send a message there as well.
That's right.
And just get your help that you need to stay healthy. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
That sounds great. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
Okay.
The ladies. Come on. There we go. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, hey guys. So, what a great conversation. We have to say, oh, my God. They're clapping for me, I guess. So anyway, this was a great conversation. I was on TikTok before and I got booted, so I'm going to go back on there again and see what happened on that. But I have more information of Dr. Lewis. Again, it's drlewisnutrition.com. We can get the daily brain care. I will be sharing that up on social media so you guys can see it and see if it works for you. All right. So again, next week, I'm starting on TikTok. Okay, I will be live on TikTok because TikTok threw me out before because I was communicating, even though it heard me talking and knew I was on another platform. So it booted me out. So anyway, have a great week. And remember, it's never too late to reboot your mindset. So keep healthy. Let's get healthier and live longer. Okay, you can do it. If I did it, you can too. So thank you and have a great evening, everybody. Let's see. I lost. Okay.